Okay, so welcome to my first cooking video. I'm making stuffed tomatoes today. You guys are gonna see basically Alex's family recipe. They make the best stuffed tomatoes ever, so I'm pretty sure mine's not gonna be as good, but I've been craving it, so I really want some. So what I did here was I already chopped mushrooms. This is just regular, it's baby Bella mushrooms. You can use regular white mushrooms if you'd like. I just roughly chop those. You can, it's gonna be a stew, so it is gonna it's going to shrink. So it doesn't matter how big or small you cut them. I've already chopped up some garlic, and I'm about to chop up onions into little cubes. And then I have these noodles. It's these tiny, tiny, tiny vermicelli, whatever you want to call it, noodles. And they come in little packs like this. And so I have a little bit soaking right here in hot water. So I boiled hot water and I poured it into here, and it should be ready. So I'm actually going to pour out the water, and I'm going to drain that. I have my tomatoes already nicely washed. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with them because it's a little complicated. But first I'm just going to get rid of this water here. And I'm actually just going to chop them up like so. And you want it to get it very small because it's going to go with the ground pork and everything. It's going to be in the mixture. And you just want just a nice texture into the ground pork, which will be in the stuffed tomato later. So I'm just going to keep cutting this up. Okay, so once you feel that that's already nicely chopped up, I'm just going to add the garlic to it. I'm going to grab pork, cut this open, and I'm using the whole thing. This is about 2 pounds of ground pork. Bam. And we're just gonna chop this up. And I'm gonna add this to the mixture as well. Add 1 egg into the pork mixture. So this is sugar. This is why I don't do cooking videos. It's because I don't really measure when I cook. So I'm gonna try my best to explain to you guys how much I'm using. So I think I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons of sugar. And here I'm going to do half a tablespoon of salt. Now if you're not going to use fish sauce, then you can use a little more salt in this mixture, but since I'm using fish sauce, I don't want to add too much salt. And about, I don't know, I guess as much black pepper as you want. Let me say, grabbing my fish sauce. I only have a tiny bit left, so I'm probably going to use this whole thing. But I want to say that's about 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. And I'm out. But don't worry, when you're Vietnamese, you always, or even when you're Asian, and you cook with fish sauce, you always have a backup one. Now, I love using my hands when I mix my mixtures. So I do have these handy gloves my mom gave me. Ugh, my plastic bags. But anyways, so I do have a handy plastic glove. And you can use your hands, of course. You can use spoon or whatnot, and I'm going to mix this all together very well. Okay, so now I'm going to cover this and stick this in the fridge until I'm ready for it. Now let me show you what I'm going to do with the tomatoes. I'm going to grab a bowl. One of these, like a big bowl. And I need a spoon as well. Let me see. Try to look for like a thinner spoon if possible. That there. So I'm going to grab a tomato. The smaller the better, I feel like. So that it'll actually hold in the stew. Otherwise, if it's too big, it'll just fall apart. But I'm going to take my knife and cut the top off like this. And then I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to go around on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see. Let's zoom in. And I'm going to put the spoon right into here, and I'm going to scoop out this whole thing right here. Let's move you guys closer. But I'm basically just going to scoop this inside out like this. Go all the way around. Ooh, gotta be very careful. And take that whole thing out like that. And you want to keep this stuff because this is going to go in the stew. Okay. And just clear it out like that. That should be fine. Doesn't have to be perfectly cleaned out. And of course you throw the tops away. You can keep it if you want. For decoration, but I like to just throw them away like that. And I'm gonna keep going with all these tomatoes that I have. You can do as many tomatoes as you want. I'm doing a lot because Alex and I can eat this throughout the week, and we love to have it with rice. So what you're gonna need to cook this up, let me just zoom out, is a pan. I was gonna use that one, but I decided not to. I'm just gonna use this one. And we're just basically going to stuff the tomatoes, and we're going to put it upside down so that the meat cooks on the outside. It's nice and crispy. And then you're gonna need a pot like this to actually stew the tomatoes in. And I'm gonna take the top off actually. Put it over here. Now process and all, but I'm gonna take the big chunks of pulp in of the tomato, basically the middle of the tomato, and just roughly chop it up, because you don't really want big chunks. Well, most of you like big chunks of tomatoes in there, but basically I'm gonna add that back in there like that. I'm just gonna pour this whole thing of the tomato juice and the tomato pulp inside of this pot very carefully and turn on the fire. And we're gonna let this stew. And then you can actually go ahead and just add the mushrooms. Mushrooms, of course, are optional. Alex's aunt, I noticed she does not use mushrooms, and Alex's mom use mushrooms. So either way, you can do either. Alex and I enjoy having mushrooms in the stew, so I'm gonna add it. And so I'm gonna bring this bowl back out. I'm gonna show you two ways to stuff it. You can either use your hands or you can use a spoon. So I guess I'll show you guys. Well, I'm actually going to turn on the fire to the pan right over here. And I'm gonna add oil to it as well. Okay. It's so much easier with your hand. But if for some reason you don't like to use your hand, then I'll show you how to use the spoon. I'm gonna drop this right into here like that. And that's gonna cook up. Okay, so I'm gonna show you with the spoon now. Hope you guys are able to see this. Get closer. Can you guys see that? Okay. I'm just dropping them into the pan like that. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna reduce the heat a little bit. Make sure everything in the pot is going smoothly. You want the mushrooms to be cooking. I'm actually gonna add some parsley flakes. Just some dried ones that you can get from the spice section. And I'm going to do about a tablespoon of parsley flakes. And I'm going to do just about a teaspoon of black ground pepper. And let me show you what it looks like. Oh yeah, you want it to be golden brown like that. Flip it over. And I'm going to start adding these to the pot. Okay, and I'm going to add, I already did these, so I'm going to go ahead and add these to the pan. I might have to add more oil, but I'm going to go ahead and transfer these over to the pot and have these cook in. These are the last 4. Let me see how many tomatoes I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tomatoes. And do not panic when you see extra meat. That's a good thing, because we're going to fry these up and we're going to stick them in there. It's stewing up in there. You don't want to touch it too much, because then they'll start falling apart. But I'm going to reduce the heat once more. Alright, so all the tomatoes are in the pot. Let me show you what you're going to do with the extra ground pork mixture. You're going to get your hands dirty because it's so worth it. But I'm going to just take it and roll it into a ball, into a tight ball, and we're going to add it to the oil. Drop it into the oil. And this is going to go into the stew as well. So I lowered the fire on the pot, and I still have all that extra meat cooking, and that's also going to go into the pot. But I'm going to add the wine. It's going to be, I think Allie's aunt usually uses red wine, but I just have white wine today. So I did 1/4 of a cup of white wine, but we'll see. I'll keep tasting and I'll let you know officially how much you should be adding. So now I'm going to raise the heat a little bit. Check on. Okay, so after taste testing it, I added 2 more tablespoons of sugar to the stew, which makes the stew, or the sauce, you know, just a lot more flavorful. And I added a little more parsley. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. Now I have rice cooking. While it stews, I'm going to have it stew. It's basically already ready, but Alice and I like our tomato very, very cooked. and have it stew for maybe another half an hour, and then it should be ready.